All right, guys, today we are going to be working on our rough draft for the air glider, air skimmer, whatever you would like to call it. We're going to be going through and getting sizes and drawing with the ruler, nice and neat, nice and clean, making sure everything looks good. But here's the finished product for our design right here. Okay, now this is what we call the rough draft part of it because it's on 2D graph paper. And the reason it's 2D graph paper is because we have a horizontal line going like this, and then you have a vertical line going like this, which is going to help us drawing because we primarily have straight lines that we're working with. Now, there are some diagonal lines here on the fin and on the airfoil, but the 2D graph paper kind of helps us out. Now, once we get done with the rough draft, drawing this and getting our design on here, then you move on to the final copy, which is on manila folder paper, kind of a heavier, thicker cardboard stock. Just to help our air eraser run down the hallway, we need to be a little bit thicker so it doesn't get all bent up and kind of ruined a little bit. So then we put it on here, and there is no graph paper on here. So here we have to do a really good job measuring and making sure everything stays square and neat, because anything that's off on this will affect how your car runs down the hallway. And then after we get this part done, then you move into the finished product, which is the air glider, all put together, cut out, glued, design on it. So we'll talk about where the design has to go and all that good stuff later. But today, we are just mainly focusing on the first step in the process, which is getting your rough draft finished. Okay, so on your 2D graph paper, and if you don't have any graph paper, or you lost yours, or can't find it, or something happened to it, you can get a new sheet. I have some up at my desk that you can borrow and use. Make sure you put your name in the upper right-hand corner right here. Keep it to this first row right there, so that way we have plenty of room to draw on. Okay, now all of our lines need to end on the blue line. All right, so make sure they are ending on the blue line, and you have that to help yourself stay nice and neat, nice and clean right there. All right, so we are going to start from the upper left-hand corner of your graph paper. I'm going to go ahead and tear this off the pad, so that way we have it right here. And there's my graph paper. We're going to start in this upper left-hand corner. Okay, now we should be getting to crosshairs right here. All right, so I'm going to go down 2 lines. So there's 1, 2. Now I'm going to go over 2. So 1, 2. So here is my point right there. Now, make sure you are using small dots. We don't want big dots to where the dots stand out. We want our line to overtake the dot. So make sure you're using a small dot. Okay, now from this dot, I'm going to work over 11 inches. All right, so you want to make sure that you're using a ruler. I'm going to work over 11 inches. The 0 on my ruler is where the tick marks start, not the end of the ruler. Do not use the end of the ruler to start measuring. Use where the tick marks start. Okay, so I put my tick mark on 0. I go to 11. Okay, now, if you are just shy of the blue line or just over, go to the nearest blue line. All right, so here is where I'm drawing to, right there. If you count your blocks, that should be 44. So if I count these blocks from my starting point all the way to my ending point, that's 44 blocks or 11 inches. Okay, so now that I have a point here and a point there, I want to draw a nice, neat, clean line across the top of that. I don't want it to be squiggly. I don't want to kind of be bumpy and all that kind of stuff. I want it nice and clean. All right, so for me, I'm going to turn my paper to where it's vertical because I think it's easier to draw vertical lines than it is horizontal lines. And it's not a big deal either way. And I like to flip my ruler over as well. So I line it up with the blue line, nice and neat. Put it right on top of that blue line. I want my line to go right down it, not above it, not below it, right down it. Hold your ruler nice and still. Push on the paper, not the ruler. That'll keep your ruler from sliding. And draw your line. All right, so I have an 11-inch line. Or 44 blocks. All right, so up next, if you look at our blueprint here, we're going to draw the body right here. All right, so I am making a rectangle. I just put this line on there. Now I'm going to come down. All right, I'm going to come down to finish out my rectangle. That is going to be 4 inches, all right, or 16 blocks. Okay, so here I'm going to measure down at the end 4 inches. That takes me to right there. And I'm also going to do it over here, 4 inches. Now I'm going to draw my lines. Okay, draw it right on top of that blue line. If you count your blocks, you should have 16 blocks. All right, 4 inches or 16 blocks. And I'm going to do it over here as well. Notice my lines are nice and clean, nice and straight. There's not double lines. If my ruler moves, then you need to erase it. All right, make sure you have a nice clean line. Now, okay, I'm going to write the size over here for you. That was 4 inches. Or 16 blocks. Now you should be able to connect it here at the bottom. Okay, so now I have my rectangle. Now I want to go through and finish out the body. Okay, now notice we have 2 sets of lines. We have a solid line, we have a dash line. Solid lines are for cutting with scissors, dash lines are for folding. So we are going to start with this line right here. Okay, it is a 1/2 inch down from the top. This portion is dashed, this portion is solid. All right, so from the upper left-hand corner, we're going to go 2 blocks down. That's a 1/2 inch. We're going to make this solid line right there. Okay, my solid line is 3 inches or 12 blocks. Okay, so I'm going 2 blocks down from this upper left-hand corner, 1, 2, to right there. Going to go over 3 inches or 12 blocks to right there. Take your ruler, draw a solid line or 3 inches right on top of that blue line. There's my solid line for 3 inches. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing from the lower left-hand corner, 2 blocks up for 3 inches, which is going to be the same height as here. So I'm going to go to right there. Okay, so I have my solid lines, and now if I look, I have a dash line that connects those 2 solid lines. Okay, so now on the solid line, you're going to take your ruler, turn it vertical, line it up with those 2 points. I'm going to put a dash. Okay, now your dashes, we want to make those about a square big. So this first one, I draw it for a square, I skip a square. Draw a square, skip a square. All the way till I get to the end. And if you got to make that last one a little bigger to finish it out, make it a little bigger to finish it out. So you draw it for a square, skip a square. Draw a square, skip a square. Draw a square, skip a square. All the way down, then you can just finish out that last little piece right there. Okay, so that is the inside part of the body right here. Now I need to draw a dash line that finishes out that 1/2 inch block. So again, it's 2 blocks up. 1, 2, right there. 2 blocks up. 1, 2. So I come over here to my rectangle. 1, 2, I'm going to right there. And then this entire line right here is a dashed line. So again, line it up with this corner right here. Okay, that's where my solid line ends. Line it up there, on that blue line there. I'm going to skip the first block and then draw. Skip, draw. All the way till I get to the end. Take your time, draw it nice and neat. And now I have my dashed line going across the bottom. Okay, I need to do the same exact thing to the top. Okay, so again, I have a dashed line going across the top right here. This one is 2 blocks down, so go to the upper right-hand corner right here. 1, 2, I'm going to right there. And again, I'm going to line it up at the end of my solid line right there, and then my 2 blocks marker right here. Skip the first block, draw, skip, draw, all the way down to the bottom. And that is it for your air racer body. Okay, it is completely done. Your next step is to draw the rectangle for our fins and our airfoil. So we're just drawing this rectangle right here, and that's where we're going to stop for today. All right, we will move on to the next class period, but we're going to draw this empty rectangle right here. So I'm going to take my ruler from this corner, the lower left-hand corner of my air racer body. I'm going to scoot down 4 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here. My rectangle is the same length as my air racer body. Okay, so it's 11 inches. So all I'm going to do from this corner is go down 4 blocks as well. So right here, lower right-hand corner, 1, 2, 3, 4. Goes to right there. Take my ruler, lay it on that blue line. Draw my horizontal line right there. Okay, now my next step, I need to draw my vertical lines. Okay, so going down for this rectangle, it is 3 inches. Okay, so I'm going to go to the end over here. I'm going to measure down 3 inches, which is right here. If I count my blocks, that's 12 blocks. Draw my line. Go over to the left side. Again, 3 inches down. And then connect the two. And that is where we're going to stop for today. Again, this was 3 inches. For 12 blocks. All right, we will pick this up again on Friday when I see you guys. All right, or Thursday, depending on which day you have class right here. But this is where we are stopping for today. If you have any questions, please email me. If you have other work to work on, please get your other work done. All right?